And there was one point where I was like, this is just too hard. Like this is, you know, and I was meeting with a friend of mine and he was eternally um, optimistic about his acting career. And I was just thinking, what are you kidding me? Like we're extras, you know? And I said, yeah, that's probably not going to work. And he said to me, you are so negative.
Mm.
That changed my life. I walked home and I thought, he's right. What am I doing? I'm the mindset person, because I'd been.
Welcome to the Resilient Minds podcast, stories of grit, growth, and success. On this show, we focus on the real stories behind the success, the struggles, the resilience, and the courage it took to keep moving forward even when times got tough. My goal is to provide you with stories of hope and transformation, showing that no matter the challenges, there is a way forward, and you can find it. This is Resilient Minds. Hi, I'm your host, Dr. Campbell, and I'm here with Jeanne Omlor, and she is a seven-figure coach for coaches and consultants. And so, myself as a coach, I love that there's coaches for coaches because I think a good coach actually has their own coach, right? We all need help. We're all in this together. And I am super excited about hearing her story because she has an amazing transformation and she's actually doing amazing things in the world for people who they do have a big vision for their life, but we all struggle, right? So we all need help. Thank you, Jean, so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Can you explain to us what you do as a seven-figure coach for coaches?
Sure. So it's very simple. We are dedicated, because I have a team that I lead. We are very dedicated to helping coaches create very manageable, high ticket, high profit businesses with no craziness like funnels and ads and managing 25 people. And so it's to create a business that you love, that's manageable. You still have your weekend, you have family life. It's not about creating this idea of burnout while you're making money and then fix your life. It's about having a harmonious, I wouldn't say balanced, but a harmonious life that's a full life as a high ticket, high profit coach. And we help the coaches get clients through social media with no ads.
Right, which is beautiful because I feel like everybody is trying to do that. So then the market gets so saturated, it's actually not as effective.
Hmm.
Doing it a little bit differently. And what I find and the people that I talk to, as authentic as you can be, which usually that those make for better sales and better connections with clients, right? But
Hmm.
the individuals who are doing like mass marketing, mass ads, those types of things, it can get exhausting because you're constantly doing sales calls, right? Because I've done
Hmm.
that in the past too.
Hmm. Well, I mean, you need sales calls, but it's not about a bunch of low quality junky sales calls on your just that you're just sifting through. So it's not the spray and pray effect. It's targeted that when you do spend your precious time on a call, that person already knows that you might be the one. That's where you want to get to make your time is precious. I don't want to waste a minute. So that's why ads did not work for me because I thought, wow, we just had this person that doesn't even know what I do. So
Yeah.
it's really about honoring your time and creating the targeting from the very beginning of your funnel. Everything's a funnel. I don't mean funnels and ads.
Right.
Everything is a funnel. You're bringing people in. Even the funnel might be you met them at a networking event. That would be the beginning of your funnel. But the point is, you want to get it to a point where everything is so targeted along the way that you're not wasting time and the clients are better.
Right. And then you probably feel a whole lot better because you're not exhausted, right? Chasing
Exactly.
your traffic.
Exactly. Right. You just feel like, wow, okay, even if that person didn't work with us, it was a viable fit.
Right. So I would love to know because the way that I see like marketing and branding and the way people have taught me as well is the more authenticity you put and the more of your story that you put, the more quality sales you have because the leads that are coming in, they know you, right? And
Hmm.
they've seen you as a person. So that's what makes a better relationship too. But that goes into sharing your story and sharing your vulnerability. When you were building this, did you share a lot of your story?
All the time. In fact, when I started this, I wasn't sitting there. I didn't have this energy of, okay, here's me thinking, here's a wall, and then
Right.
here's the people. That's what people do. They're sort of like, here's me thinking about my business, and then there's kind of like a wall, a buffer, and then how do we present ourselves? There was no wall. I was just, my head was down. I was just down. It was raw. I wasn't overthinking anything. I was just spilling my story as I went, raw. People loved it. This is what I was doing. And they're like, wow, this woman is so transparent. I mean, I didn't share personal family stuff that you shouldn't share because we got to keep some of that behind, folks. Like, you don't need to tell everybody everything about your life to be
Right.
transparent, right? So I shared what was valid for the business. Like, this is what I went through, this what I'm going through. Hey, I just found something. And they were like, wow, this woman is just like spilling her guts. And that created a closeness because they could see it was not fake vulnerability, because I hate that. I
Right.
wasn't sitting there also thinking, what should I share to look vulnerable? That's also a wall. With
Right.
all of this overthinking and really like engineering how people look, that's the fakeness that people just inside, they can feel it's fake.
Yeah.
Mine, I didn't have time to be fake. I was just like, I just had to make this work. I
Yeah.
had two children to feed, and I'm like, here's what works. And I would just post a lot of posts in a lot of groups. Hey guys, this is what's working right now. They're like, wow, you just told us what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, just this works. Then they're like, wow, she's so generous too. Because, yeah, there's no secret. Here's what I'm doing. You could do it yourself. I did this, 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 and this. And they're like, wow, you just gave me the whole thing. But some people realize they might need coaching on that. So then they'd be like, well, I love that you told us everything, but I think I need your help. Great. Okay. Wonderful. One person, as soon as people sense that you are becoming successful, there are always these weird things called trolls. Okay. Which trolls and haters, I don't care about those people. But one woman, and usually these people are just hurting inside because they're not successful. And one woman reached out and said, oh, so I guess you just like spill your guts on social media and you become famous and rich. And I said, yep. I was like, whatever. So, I just said, yep. And that was it. She couldn't engage anymore. So, yep, moving on. And then some people were like, what's wrong with you? Jean's just like sharing stuff with us. And everybody came up to like defend me. It was so funny. But
That.
the point is, I thought, yeah, she's right. All you need to do is just like tell people what's going on, stop faking, stop taking photos of yourself in front of a fake Lambo, just stop it and just tell people, here, this is what I'm doing. This is what works. And, if you want to hear about it, great. Sometimes I didn't even say that. I said, hey, folks, this is what's working right now. And I did a lot. I did a Facebook Live for 2 years every Saturday. Saturday when I was taking my kids places to their games or whatever, I did a Facebook, I would be in a cafe in the morning. I did a Facebook Live for 2 solid years every Saturday. People were like, wow, I can't believe you. I turned up and they knew where to find me. And then I didn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But it was something that I was proud of that I just turned on a Saturday. Everybody doesn't want to turn on a Saturday.
Mhm.
I didn't want to do it in my workday because it would take time on my workday. So I think what works is just like telling the truth about where you are, where you've been, and what works. And I think people can see right through fake people. Nobody has ever said to me, gee, you're fake, because it'd be a lie.
Yeah.
The criticism wasn't you're fake. The criticism was you're not fake. I thought that was quite funny.
Right. Because either way, you're going to get people who are targeting
Yeah,
you. It's just projection.
exactly. Who
What
cares?
was the hardest part for you?
Oh my gosh, the hardest part is to start something that you have no idea whether it's going to work or not. Because, looking back, it's like, phew, you just feel like, phew, like dodged a bullet and I made it. And you're just like so grateful because I am. And you don't even want to think about what if that didn't work?
Right.
So once you have become successful at something, it's just like, oh my, so grateful. And then I think, oh my gosh, what if that didn't work? So you kind of feel like you dodged a bullet and you were saved, right? But when you're starting something, you have no idea whether that's going to work. You're not like, oh yeah, I know in 2 years I'll have all these clients and I will have made at least $1 million. Because I made $1 million in 17 months of getting online. I'd already been a coach for 8 years, okay? But I didn't know it was going to work out. I thought maybe this won't work. So you can't know I mean, I felt like somewhere deep inside, like I should do better and I deserve to do better because I'm really good at what I do. And I knew that. Not because I think I'm amazing, but because I know my talents, I know my abilities. And I thought, I'm really good at this. And I just got to figure out how to get this to the right people
Right.
because somewhere in my mind, it was like, weren't you meant to be that like really successful multi-million dollar coach, Jean? The voice. And I thought, whoa, I'm broke and I'm penniless and in deep debt and I'm 54 years old. Where's that voice coming from? But there was some kernel, I call it a kernel of belief. If you could just find a kernel of belief and grow it, we're good.
Right. During those periods of time where you were at your lowest, you couldn't either quite hear the voice that was positive and cheering you on, or it was very quiet, right? Like it's not very strong at those moments. What did you do to get yourself through it?
I just said, okay, I need to do everything I can today that I can. Just what can I do today? What can I do today that might move the needle? And sometimes I didn't know. But then when I realized, when I woke up one morning and I was 54 and I thought, I, my market is not here in the local market. It used to be when I was in New York and then it wasn't because I moved to the Midwest. But I have to do something big. This is not working just the same thing and maybe getting a client. And I understand because I'm a business strategist. I need to do something big. I need to do some big thing, not just a little adding a little, people add things to their business. That's not going to completely change it. And I thought I need to completely change my model. So I thought I need to get online and I need to figure that out. And I just thought, oh, that is going to be so hard because I wasn't an online person. And I thought, what do I need first? I need help. I need to hire a coach that knows about this. And for some reason, this coaching company landed in my vision and it
Mm.
didn't look great. But I asked a lady that was in there and she said, it's not great. She said, but with your personality, I think that it'd be good for you. I said, really? She said, yes. So you're telling me it's not great? She goes, nope, but it's great for some people. And I think you're one of those people. And I said, I'm in. I just, faith, plonked down 12, 10 count, three different credit cards, went in, and what they were teaching was not for me. And I thought, aha, what is for me here? And they said, well, ads won't work for you. I said, that's why I paid you. They said, not going to work. I said, that's why I paid you. I said, what do I do? Oh, do organic. I said, what, like carrots? What's organic? Organic social media marketing. I didn't know what that was. Now I'm known for it. And they said, I said, tell me about this. I said, you can get clients with no ads. I said, really? I didn't know that. And my mind exploded because I realized that was it. I thought, this is it.
Mhm.
That's what I have to get good at right there. I knew it. So I just dedicate, and I was dog with a bone. I spoke to thousands of people working out. How do we do this? And then I got my first client, and then I could start helping a lot of people. And I just started getting floods of clients because they were like, how are you doing this so simply? And that was it. And I just, that moment of that
Mm.
you wait for in your life and business, like the eureka moment that we're always waiting for that next eureka moment. Like, boom, that was it. I thought, this is it. I got it. And my daughters and I danced around the house when I got that first client because they saw me like, and I said, I got it. I got it. I figured this out. And they're like, Mom, and we're dancing and crying because I knew it. And that was huge. So that was the moment. Then, of course, it's not like the moment, and then you keep doing the work and you're building on it. But the moment of clarity, the
Right.
moments of clarity are the gifts in life. Not this just the, oh, I guess I'll start a podcast because people say to, or oh, I guess maybe I'll hire that person. Or those little things, that's not the eureka moment. That's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And while you're talking about that, I'm thinking there's a lot of business owners out there right now who they don't know what their next move is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I get that. I've been there. And every once in a while I still am there. And
Mm,
we don't have clarity. One, what has hurt me the most in business is always listening to other people external to me and doing what they say. But that doesn't mean having people in your network, coaches, consultants give you options. I have
mm,
never succeeded and been able to get that clarity and take that next step if I didn't take those options to consider them, which actually led me to my aha moment, which that's where the clarity comes. So it's always coming from us. But if we don't have those conversations, go to the meetings, follow the breadcrumbs, kind of like getting out of ourselves to
mm-hmm,
open ourselves back up, our brains are
mm-hmm.
really not open to getting that eureka. It's closed down and it gets so heavy that we
Yes.
can't take that next step because we never get the clarity.
I know exactly what you mean. I had that heaviness for ages because I didn't have the coach that had the answer, or I
Yeah.
wasn't, I'm a sponge and I'm always listening. Like, what's that next? Because, I try to, I want to start other businesses. So I'm always
Mhm.
like, what's the other business? And I always hear about something, not about my coaching, and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to test that. And it might not work. And that's okay. What's, you know, the more people I meet in different realms, not to do with coaching, actually, it's like, what is it? And then I'll hear about something else. Okay, is that it? Let me investigate. It's not always it. That's okay. But we have to be open to listening. To, we have to be open to saying, I don't know what I'm doing and I need help. But
Yeah.
a lot of coaches are not good at that because they're all pretending they're doing well.
Right.
And my heart goes out to them. They're pretending they don't have the answers. There is no catalyst. There's got to be a catalyst in the business,
Yeah.
not just a little extra thing. That's not going to move the needle a little extra. If you're not making it as a business person, any business person, you've got to say what is actually going to completely revolutionize to change, not just, oh, I'm getting one more client a month. That's painful.
Yeah.
Tiny little, no, you've got to look at what's the catalyst, what would completely turn this around, and be open to that level of change. Personally, I love change and I'm looking for it. That's not a normal person. I'm not a normal person. I'm not. Because they always say human beings fear change. I do not fear change. I fear a lack of change.
Right.
I fear a lack of, well, this has just been the same for a while. There's got to be some new element going on in my business or my life or something because I can atrophy if just
Mhm.
same thing. So I seek change and I love change. If it's good change, not bad change, but nobody likes bad change. But I want the change because the change spins off into something else. Or you meet somebody new and it's like they're giving you new ideas. I was like, oh, I never thought about doing that. Wow. And then you go down that and then you meet more people. It's like, wow, because I was open to going to that event or
Right.
whatever. I met this person you know, and then it just becomes magic. I'm in a magical moment right now where every time I go somewhere, I just meet somebody that spins me off into the next right path or investigation. You get to that point of flow in your
Right.
relationships, which I'm pleased to say right now I'm experiencing that. It's just like one after the other, not like juicy new collaborations. And I don't mean little things, I mean big, different. So that happens from practice. It's not just a lottery ticket. It is your energy and going out there and being open and investing. I
Yeah.
invest. I invest in masterminds, which are not coaching. I invest in coaching, which are our coaching. I invest in communities even where there's zero. It's just who's in there. And, the more money you make, the more you should budget to do extra things. People don't do that. They make money and they just want to keep it all. We
Mhm.
know you have to expand with how much money you're making. It's like, well, and you have to have a budget for that. And I'm not saying join 100 masterminds and then become so unfocused. I
Right.
don't do that. I join one, integrate that. Okay, that's a certain
Yep.
type of reason I'm in there. It's not always business.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, now I think I will join a business mastermind. Then that's different. And then there'll be other little random like events I'll go to, which are another realm. I've got a good thing going now. If I take anything on more, I'll be overwhelmed. You know, it's going well. Okay. And then I've got the business and it's great. I will say this, and I want people to hear this over and over again. I bask in gratitude.
Mhm.
Bask. I don't just, oh, I'm grateful here and there. I bask. I am grateful, deeply grateful every single day of my life that this is how it's turned out so far. And that's how you build as well.
Right. Well, when you're talking about that, being open to doing all these things, and I hear you're constantly working on yourself and you're constantly innovating, and it's a visionary mind. And I understand how that feels. I feel like I have a visionary mind too that I've had to harness to help me with my goals, but also hold back because then you can get scattered and burnt out
Right.
because you're saying yes to everything. So
Wrong approach. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
The individuals that I've learned who have harnessed that have found a balance that it's okay that it never ends. I will always be working on myself and I will also be investing in myself. That is a
Yes.
never-ending thing and that's okay. If you plan for that, then it's not a surprise that you have to invest another 10,000 here, another 5,000 here, whatever.
Another 35, 60. I mean, it
Yes,
gets
because it gets
bigger.
more.
100,
It,
in
it
other
gets more.
things. Yeah, it gets more, and it's great because
Right.
you're becoming, you know, the neuroplasticity of wealth and abundance is growing and growing and growing and growing. And then the numbers you're talking about and the purchases you want to make are growing and growing and growing for everything. And it just becomes normalized because it's just a number. There's no
Yeah.
taboo with money. It's just this number or that number. It's the brain that assigns all this taboo on it. It's just a number.
Well, but what's interesting though is while the numbers are growing and while the investment and your mindset is growing, you're actually changing too. Your identity has to change with that. And
Exactly.
that's the concept is if you want to make more money, you want to change your life, work on yourself too. And the fact that that never ends, that's also a good thing because you don't want to be stagnant. Stagnant is death.
Who
You're
would want to end? Why would you want to stop? I mean, I'm thrilled that I'm in this growth. Again, grateful for so many things because I wasn't always like this. I've been through a lot of different. I was a very negative person at one point in my life, and I've been through a lot. So, nobody can say, "Oh, Jeanne, you were just always like that." I wasn't. And that's good. It's a good thing. And also with health and longevity, there's all sorts of things. My recommendation is not to overextend. At first, you want to be really tight. I don't mean tight, cheap. I mean, I did one program and I just won. And I really did not go and do more. No, I thought, nope, I got to focus. And then I would find one other person. And then and then great, got some help. Great. A little more help. Great. Okay, now should I do another one? Yeah, I think it is time for me to see if there's something I'm missing. Next coach. Often they were not good. So then next one, next. But it wasn't five things at once and then I could not focus. That's a problem.
Yep.
People that just scatter. The moment then I very healthy business. I thought, I want to meet more interesting people, nothing to do with coaching. More like longevity, AI,
Mm,
abundance, massive transformative purpose in the world and purpose. So I joined another high-end group, nothing to do with coaching. That I integrate. I thought this is community is great. Then I had my business and then I had this other purposeful thing going on. And then I thought, okay, got that integrated for about a year and a half or two. Then I thought, I wouldn't mind joining like a more businessy mastermind as well, because that's integrated. So then I joined it and I fit it all in, plate spinning, but it's not joining four groups at once. Okay. And then I thought, okay, that's all working well. Now, here and there, I'm going to go to some family office events, but just when I choose, fitting those in. So it's really working really well. And then I'm fitting some fun travel in, like
mm.
fun travel. Okay. Because that's important. So I've got a really good balance now. And if I don't want to do something one month, I'll just say, yeah, cancel all travel this month and stay home because there's various things I could be doing. And what am I doing this month? I think I'll cancel that one. And so it's really a really good lot of like, I got a lot of balls in the air, but they're really well juggled now. It's not a random plug everything in. It's good. It's manageable. I've got children. And I can always just not go to an event if I don't want to, if it's too much that month. So I suggest that's how people do is integrate what they're doing, not just plug in a bunch of stuff all at once.
But we were just talking about that in an event this week, actually, how it's every year, it's 10 weeks, and it's 4 hours a night every Tuesday, right? So for those 10 weeks, you're getting a lot of information. And we were discussing at our table how many people come to all 10 sessions if it's every
Mm,
single year. And so some
mm,
people come to all of them and they're constantly overwhelmed and they can't integrate the information. And so we told them if you're committed to coming every year, it's okay to not come to a couple sessions. One, you're burnt out, you're tired. Sleep, rest, take some
yes.
time, but also it gives you time to really focus to integrate the information. And the same exact thing is when we're healing, when we're working
Mm,
on our mindset. Don't try to make it perfect. If you're working on drinking more water, exercising, and eating healthy, like that's okay to just focus on those three right for
yes.
now, or even just one before you
Mhm.
move to the next thing, before you move to the next thing, and so on and so forth. So the whole thing that I hear when you're saying that is you have to be disciplined to be balanced and focused.
Right. And then, and I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I went to two events, like one butted up against another. Obviously, I wasn't doing all my normal stuff. Like I didn't get up and work out I haven't worked out in a while. I usually work out like every day. And I couldn't because it was just like, oh gosh, if I get up and work out, I'm gonna have to get up really early and actually sleep. Sleep's my priority. I'm just gonna sleep more rather than the workout. Sleep for me, if I'm not sleeping, I'd rather not. So, but I'm okay with that. That there's ups and downs also with your schedule. And then I had one day and I had another event. I thought, whoa, again, and it's a lot of energy. And again, I wasn't working out. And that's okay because now that I have no events for a bit, for 2 weeks, I'm going to get back to my schedule, right? And then, so I think it's also, you've got to be okay. Now, I know some people that travel all the time and they, do their mindset, their exercise every single day, no matter what, even if they had to get up at 4 a.m. I'm not that person that wants to get up at 4 a.m. just to get that done. I'd rather sleep. So you have to know who you are and how you operate. I'm no good with no sleep. So therefore, the
Yeah.
working out has to go on the wayside more than the sleep. We have to also be okay that stuff happens in our lives and there is a disruption of our normal pattern and we can just get back on it. I'm very much at peace with that now.
Right, which you're talking about grace. Yes, we need to be
Mm,
disciplined, hold ourselves accountable, and it is constantly you're juggling and finding that balance, but it's okay. Life
yes.
happens, and if you can't do everything perfectly, like that's not even the goal to do it perfectly. It's to, like you said, go with the flow.
Yes. Just that it's, if you never work out and you don't eat proper food all the time,
Right.
that's fine. But for a week, and the food was fine, it was fine actually. It was good. But no working out and it also disrupted sleep. I mean, it won't kill you, but just don't do that all the time.
Right.
1 week in your life is good. It's fine. It's okay. I actually enjoyed. You know what I enjoyed? I enjoyed sleeping in. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, great. I'm gonna sleep in, and it was like, yeah, that's great. A lot of very high achievers never sleep in. They get up at the same time every single morning. I love it. I'm
Mhm.
okay. I'm okay not getting up at the same exact time when I'm at an event or something because I'll always get back to it. So
Right.
everybody's different. I'm more fluid than other people, that it won't kill me if I don't get up at the same time. I know it's good for sleep. I get it all. That's the
Mhm.
best thing in the world. But I'm okay to violate that one because I hardly drink a drop of alcohol. I mean, it's rare. And everything else is, I don't smoke, never smoked, never touched a drug. I'm doing okay and way better than a lot of people in other areas.
Right.
So I think we have to figure out like what we're okay with. That I'm
Right.
not going to shoot myself because I didn't get up at the same time. We have to have grace. That's the point. You said it.
Right. I'm wondering, we have a couple more minutes left, and earlier you said that you used to be a very negative person, and you are a completely different person today than that. What had you, well, how old were you, and what created that negative mindset before?
It was just a lot of not becoming successful wears on you. Like I was an actress, and that's very hard. And it's kind of like demoralizing because it's not just how good you are. There's so many factors. Do you have the right agent? Do you know the right people? What do you look like? Who do you know? All of that. And people get roles because they know somebody. So you're really fighting a system. And there was one point where I was like, this is just too hard. Like this is, you know, and I was meeting with a friend of mine, and he was eternally optimistic about his acting career. And I was just thinking, what are you kidding me? Like we're extras, And I said, yeah, that's probably not going to work. And he said to me, you are so negative.
Mm,
That changed my life. I walked home and I thought, he's right. What am I doing? I'm the mindset person, because I'd been reading about mindset. I just thought, I'm going to change. And I did. See, it's funny when people tell me things that are true. I go, you know what? They're right. I'm stopping it. I
yeah.
literally stop it. Literally. Because that's my mindset. I'm not going to make excuses. I thought he's right. He's absolutely right. So if I'm going to be negative about this acting career, I better do other things. I should do other things that I'm positive about. He just caught me in a bad day as well because I wasn't always like that. But I think I had become negative and there were other things happening. Like it's hard for me to find housing and it's really hard in New York. So we chose something. It's almost completely impossible to be successful at is to be regularly working actor. It's almost impossible. The percentage is so low of people that achieve that, that we're behind the eight ball. So it's not our faults. Like you really
Right.
just, it's not like anything else. So I thought, yeah, I was already doing other things. I thought I better either just accept and do something else. So I did. At that point, I think I thought I'm done, which was actually the right decision. So that's why. And I'd been through a lot, and I was like, is nothing, there's a point sometimes when you're on a bad luck run and you kind of just say, is nothing ever going to work for me? Like,
Mm.
and I know that many people listening are like, yeah, that's me. It's good for them to hear it from me that I literally had such a bad run of nothing working in my life that I was like, is nothing ever going to work? It was long.
Mm.
So I want people to hear that you could even have a really bad run of luck, because sometimes it is bad luck, okay? And nothing working. But then somehow you get on a different path that's your correct path, and everything can finally work with a
Right.
lot of work.
I can't remember the exact term, so I might botch this and maybe you'll know. But and I can't remember the book that it came from either. But it's like the Valley of Disappointment or the is that it
I'm going to write that down. The Valley of Disappointment. Is
yeah.
that like, what's the con, the more things that go wrong, it just gets worse and worse and worse because of energy?
Well, the whole idea, and you can actually Google it because I think that's the official words, is the Valley of
Mhm.
Disappointment. And
Mm,
so we tend to think that progress goes up at a
hmm
diagonal, and it
hmm
doesn't. It's like a slow slope that's just down, and that's your progress. Like you're not making much progress. You're moving forward, absolutely, but you really can't see any changes. And if you keep going, and if you keep going, and if you
mm,
keep trying those new things, keep shifting your mindset, keep adjusting, keep integrating,
hmm
blah, 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 blah. Eventually, you're like, I don't have any more, but I keep moving forward. And then there's this switch that happens, and then all of a sudden it shoots up.
mm,
The difference between the slope that's going down with that shoots up to our expectation that is completely diagonal, always going up every time you take a step.
mm,
It must be like great progress. That feels very disappointing from what our perspective is to what reality is. And so
hmm
when somebody told me that, and it was a coach actually, and I was not good. I was
Oh,
not. It was, I had a several year period where nothing was going right as well. And pretty much every
mm,
entrepreneur that I've talked to has had that period.
yes.
However, you get more resilient and you have people who tell you the hard truth. And she said, yeah, it's not going to all be just every time you take make progress, you're going to go up. Sometimes you make progress just to keep going forward.
Hmm
Said, look at the valley of disappointment and reevaluate your expectations. And if you're still comfortable moving forward, then it actually, if you can find the gratitude in it, because the expectation
That's
adjusts.
so interesting because I found it's very different for other people.
Mhm.
I've coached people who have just started their coaching careers, and we've helped them be highly successful in a very short time. They had a little valley of disappointment. There's a few months, okay?
Right,
And I think about this, thought, wow, they're very lucky. A, that they met us at the right time.
right.
I didn't meet the right people, maybe. It was just, I don't know. Or maybe God wanted me to go the hard way so that then I had all the answers for people. Because if you don't suffer, how are you going to teach people if it was just luck, right?
Right.
I thought if I wouldn't have been able to coach them on how hard it is, But they didn't have that. Now, of course, I don't know if they're in the future what's going to happen. They might have a low, or,
Mm.
obviously they probably will. We all do have some, but they didn't have to suffer. I'm like, whoa, that's so. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
They just we just helped them, and they like one of my clients. She's made over $430,000 in 8 months of working with us. I was like, dang. Oh my gosh, nobody ever did that for me. Took years, years, and years and years and years and years and years. And maybe I just did the wrong things. I don't know. But somehow it was in the infinite plan. We all wish the infinite plan could have been easier for us, but hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But I'm astounded at people that just almost instant success. And part of it is that she met us, and I thought, well, she didn't meet us. She wouldn't have had that. So probably manifesting what she needed.
Right.
Then me could have been that. And it's not just me. I mean, other people immediately find the right mentor and coach, and it's just like Boom.
Right.
I'm jealous because obviously I did not find the right people right away
Right.
because it was slow. And I think I took on their slow mindset of
Mm,
accepting mediocrity, which I will not accept. Now, as far as since it started working, is it just been like a shooting up? No, it's not been, it's gone up every year, thank
right.
God. But it's not been like, oh, I'm 30x. I want a 10x now. That's the other big challenge. How do we 10x now?
Yeah.
That's hard, right?
I love that that's where we're ending because there's always a part of me that's always saying, well, yes, there's the valley of disappointment if that's what you're going through, but that doesn't have to be your story. Now, sometimes it is. For me, it is. For
Mm,
you, it is. And for a lot of people listening, it may be. But there are some stories that it's like, no, you had enough growth in another area of your life. And this is
hmm
just my own personal belief that this is that, whatever that was, maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was
mm,
childhood trauma, maybe it was something else you did that created the growth within yourself that you are
mm,
ready for this shift. And that's
mm.
another reason why they find the right people at the right time, because that's what it looks like.
Right. I don't, I won't lie. I don't love the valley of disappointment paradigm because I feel like you could basically suggest that to people. And do you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
maybe there is no valley of disappointment. Maybe it's just a timeline and their timeline was flat for a while. But I don't think everybody's in a valley of disappointment because it sounds just like sad and
Yep.
something that I wouldn't even want to subscribe to. I just think I had some hard times and there are reasons, okay, for past trauma was part of the reason. I know that huge past trauma, not from my family, because my family is amazing. Uh, None of that. But I know the reasons, and it wasn't because of a valley of disappointment. It's because I had trauma. I had trauma, and I didn't love myself, and I was making it hard for myself because I couldn't believe I could be successful. There's some of that, so it's not like I'm really just clueless about why it happened, But I think if we believe in a valley of disappointment, oh, I'm just in my valley of no, folks, maybe there is no valley. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just you're ready or not. So I would say don't believe in a valley of disappointment because then you might stay in that valley that you made up in your mind too long because it's a haven.
Right. Like you're accepting it.
Yes, don't accept that. Don't accept the valley of disappointment. Don't accept mediocrity. Something's not working. It's not working. Why?
Right.
Who? Who can I get to help? Get the help. And if it doesn't change, it means it's not the right path. Like me with acting, it wasn't the right path after that. I knew it. Thought, great, I'm good. This is not the right path. Now let's do something else. Part of that is we don't want to let go of something that isn't the right path. And we need
Right.
to let go. I'm somebody that will fight to the end. I'm like, yes, I'm just going to. Sometimes we need to give up if it's not what's right for us.
Right. That's beautiful. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time today.
You're so welcome.
Thank you so much for joining. Your time and your focus are your most valuable currencies, so thank you for giving that to us today. Our guest contact information will be in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. But please, if you know someone who's struggling, stop right now and send this video to them. The struggle behind growth and success is real, and they need the support to make it, because the strongest minds are the ones that healed. So don't forget, lead louder, feel deeper, and stay resilient. Until next time, this is your host, Dr. Campbell, on the Resilient Minds podcast.